Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back, man. This is a special edition of College Football Rush, man. This is our weekly show we like to do every week on Tuesday, but we haven't done really any player interviews during the season or this off season so far. We've just been so busy with everything else. Got a chance to travel out to the Senior Bowl. We've been covering the Elite 11 with those guys in high school. So, you know, I had the privilege of bringing on probably one of the most underrated guys that we've seen on film after watching, Siobhan Ravel's film this offseason. And it's kind of, I kind of found this guy, obviously he plays safety and was all over the place making plays. And I kind of feel the same way where I brought Terrence Taylor in from last year from Toledo. It's kind of the same way I found him watching his guy that plays on the defensive end with him and saw him on film. And then actually we had a connection with one of his uncles that I think they said he stayed with him this past off season and did some of his workouts in Florida and everything, which we'll get into that. But it's kind of crazy how this all match up and came full circle. But I'm everybody's favorite couch quarterback, Dante, and I got my man Sora here with me as
Yes.
well to conduct this interview. Usually it's a one-on-one thing, but Sora's always got like the best questions for players, so I had to bring him on. And then without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get Omar in here. Omar, what's up, man? Thank you for doing this with us yet again. I'm super excited for this one. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I
Sure.
like I said, I couldn't wait to get into this one today. I know we set this up, a couple days ago, and we appreciate you, carving out some time for us. And I think the chat's going to start flowing here in a little bit, starting to ask questions for you as well. So don't want to keep you too long. I do want to, like I told you backstage, I want to get into some of the film or break down some of that of, your best work outside of conducting this interview. So I know you've been training and everything for this this draft period, and how's your body doing? What are you currently doing right now? Have you spoken to any teams? Like how's your off season been?
Off season's been well. Draft didn't go where I wanted it to go. Still waiting on the call, but just any day now I can get a call to fly out for a rookie mini camp or anything like that. But right now I'm just still working out, grinding hard, waiting on that shot.
Yeah, man. I think you definitely gonna pique somebody's interest here, man. Has any teams contacted you throughout this off season at all?
Yeah, I spoke with the Chargers, the Lions, and the Bears.
Mm.
Lions, Chargers, and the Bears. That
It's not,
they
not terrible teams.
No, all of them had really good drafts. Were very, rated very high from all of us here as well. So, if you can get down to one of them teams, man, that'd be an ideal spot for you for your skill set as well.
Yeah.
I know you attended the Tropical Bowl. You went to the Test Academy. That's the reason why you're staying with your Uncle Kev and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did that go? How was that experience?
Test Academy was a great program. It was definitely some hard work for sure, but definitely was a great program. Uh, Staying with Uncle Kev, man, he really looked out. I was looking for a place to stay while I'm doing my training down there, and he said, "Yeah, come on in," and that's how that went.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Florida's got a lot of killers come from Florida, so I'm sure that,
Sure.
that you got to train with a couple of those guys. Like who's some notable guys that you trained with at a test? Was there anybody that comes to mind
Oh yeah, I trained with Ruben Hippolyte. He just got drafted by the Bears,
for
and
Maryland,
also
right?
trained with from Maryland. I also trained with Dante Trader Jr. He got
Okay.
drafted by the Dolphins.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that's up there in my neck of the woods. I grew up in Maryland, so I know
Okay.
about the Terps a little bit.
Yeah.
So I know you had some questions too.
yeah,
So
I mean, I think the first and foremost, so most interviews, I like to get to know the players a bit more because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. You just happen to be, in pads and helmet. So usually I'll like for the Senior Bowl, the first year I can't remember the player's name, but like I found his LinkedIn and like found a couple questions there. So I was like, looking you up, kind of trying to get myself familiar with you, and I saw your Twitter. I was like, oh, we'll start there. So my first question for you is when I clicked on your Twitter, can you just explain why your Twitter banner is a shelf full of WD-40? Is there any semblance there? Any what? I just need you to explain.
Nah, so in high school, we were always trying to get our hips better.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we would say you got oil up your hips a little bit. So we would like
Yeah, okay.
fake spray WD-40 cans in our hips before games and stuff like that. So that just kind of just stuck with me a little bit.
Yeah, I was in a Discord call with the other homies that don't watch football. And I was like, all right, y'all. I was like, stop everything we're doing right now. I need y'all to just look at this. And they were like, yeah, you got to ask him that. Excellent. Yeah, and again, it does make sense.
I know it probably had something to do with that, and
But I
you
was like,
know,
I got to ask. I have to.
yeah, we're like, is it an inside joke? Is it something that
Yeah.
happened from the football field, or was it from a coach? It could be
Nah,
all over the place, but that was
I was like,
hilarious,
I
man.
needs to know, bro.
Yeah,
And then, you started off at Elon. You were there for 4 years. You became a graduate
mhm.
senior, and you were all CAA safety. So, what kind of led to you leaving Elon and then choosing ECU of all places?
I felt like when I was at Elon, it was a great experience. I got my degree from there, and I felt as I wanted to move on. I felt like I could play some better football. I felt I just want to give myself an opportunity to just try to climb up the ranks a little bit. And ECU came, and and I just graduated from there with my master's in business administration while playing
Oh, there
football.
you go.
So
that's
it was a
that's
win-win.
nice. Yeah,
Absolutely, it was.
yeah, win-win for sure, man. I mean, getting your degree in that and then going to, and I mean, I know some homies that went to East Carolina because I lived there as well. So beautiful campus. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know they've done some renovations on the football field over the last couple of years. So you're going into there like with almost like a fresh new outlook going from Elon to East Carolina. So that must have been real cool. I know at your time in Elon for sure it was like you're an interception machine. I think like
Mhm.
in 2 seasons you had like 5 or 6 interceptions, and then you go all the way to East Carolina, and it was like the opposite. You became like a thumper. Not the fact that
Yeah,
you couldn't lay the boom on anybody at Elon. Was it just like a scheme change that happened, or were you really just starting to get into your own?
I think I wouldn't say it was a scheme change. Well, you can say scheme change, but it's just how they were kind of ran. At Elon, you were kind of more free in certain coverages, so I can kind of really read the quarterback. And at East Carolina, I was really more in the run fit, so I really had to get my nose dirty and fill the gaps a little bit more. And I showed my versatility, and I played both.
Yeah, because he had over 100 tackles, and I mean, I think our other co-host Khalid wasn't here today, and he, one of his questions was definitely around like, you had over 100 tackles. You know what I'm saying? That's impressive for any DB to have, especially in college, right? You guys are
Yeah.
not playing as many games,
Mm.
as the NFL guys. So, his question was like, what made you so productive being in the secondary as well? To kind of add on to what you were saying.
Just really just always trying to be around the football, playing through the echo of the whistle. Just trying to. I feel like the best part of my game is that my pursuit. Just whenever the play is going on, if the guy with the ball is now on the ground, the play's not over yet. So the game is simple. Just get the guy with the brown thing. So that's always how I played. That's always been my mentality, and that's how I carried. That's how I plan to move forward.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, when you watch the film, it's like you're like a missile, man. I know we're gonna get into some of it, and like
Yeah.
I'm excited to get,
Appreciate
especially
that.
we're gonna watch the first play against Appalachian State
Yeah.
Okay.
where you blew a running back up, but it was just amazing how you got from the third level and had a tackle for loss just to start the game. It was
Mhm.
almost like y'all started the momentum right from that play
Right
on.
off the get go, yeah.
Yeah. So
And then kind of to add on a little bit off of the past two questions, you talked about your versatility. So like as a DB, kind of what's your approach to reading the quarterback or reacting to a play? Like Dante talked about the opening play of Appalachian State where you blew up that running back. You know, are we looking at things different if you're in the nickel, outside safety? Like what if what kind of what's going on in between the eyes, in between the ears?
Okay. So my freshman year, shout out to Coach Anderson. He gave me these three key things that you need to look for between every play, and it starts off with alignment to make sure we're properly aligned.
Hmm.
Starts off with your assignment, knowing what you have to do, and then execute when the time is right. And shout out to Coach E. He talks about MOT. He calls it moment of truth. So when the ball is in the air, you can be in the right spot, the right time, but it's the moment of truth. Are you going to make the play or are you not? So that's kind of in my framework and my mindset. Just alignment, assignment, execution, and then moment of truth. And then shout out to Coach Max, just coming down and going to go hunt. At the end of the day, you got to go hunt when you're on the football field.
yeah, I mean, You definitely got that mentality, man,
So
and
you
it's
were
kept with
definitely
you.
hunting over there.
Yeah,
That's
you
for
were
damn
definitely
sure.
headhunting. Want to get into some of your stats for everybody that doesn't know, man. I threw this graphic together, kind of showed, you started your career at Elon, ended up at East Carolina, but in the 2024, I was supposed to say 2024, 105 tackles, 2 passes defended, 1 sack, and 1 interception. I mean, when you look at something like this, and I look at the stat line, obviously it's like, okay, we got a DB that's getting over 100 tackles, right? But also the versatility to be able to get a forced fumble, throw a sack in there, get a couple passes defended. Then you look at your career from Elon, like we had talked about before, to now, and it's like you're one of the most versatile, DBs out there.
Mhm.
And you look, and we're going to get into the stat line of a couple other guys that, you talked about one of them, Dante Trader. Um, a couple of these other guys are kind of like that. But when you look at the statistics, you were on par with some of the best NFL talent, or now NFL talent that's going there now. I mean, what do you attribute all of that versatility to? And was it just something that you picked up year to year to year, or it's like, hey, I just want to focus on this thing one year? I know people take different approaches. Like, what was your approach to that?
It's kind of a year to year thing. Like at the end of the year, you always figure out where can I improve on, or where can I get better at. And I know for my freshman year, I didn't get a lot of burn, so I was like, okay, I got to find a way to get on the field. So then the next year, COVID happened, so we kind of got scratch all that, and then we played there in the spring. Kind of got my call up, and got my call up and made some plays, got some recognition, and I was like, okay, how can I make the next step? Then year after year, it's just all right. I did good with my covering. Okay, this year I did good with my tackling. This year I found the ball more. So trying to make my weaknesses become my strengths is really the main thing. Trying to be an all around player.
Yeah. And what was at Elon? Obviously, I would probably think, in your early days, you were a smaller guy than you were moving on to East Carolina. Like, how was that strength conditioning program from there to East Carolina? Was it more aggressive as you moved up, and were they asking you to pack on weight as you moved on to East Carolina as well?
Not necessarily pack on weight. Shout out to strength and conditioning program, Coach DeMarco at Elon. He has a great strength and conditioning program, so I wouldn't take any discredit from him. But it's just a different approach. He was more science based and making sure we have our GPS is on and making sure we're tracking everything. And he's more science approach. And I would say with Coach Big John, that
Is
was at
that y'all had the catapult system?
yeah catapult. Hmm.
Okay.
And then at ECU, he was more so like warrior mentality, making sure you better get to the line. You better be powerful. So we're going to be squatting 3 days out the week. So
Oh, damn. Okay.
over over time, you just kind of pack on weight by just lifting
Fuck
heavy.
that.
Yeah, and a lot of not to just your credit, but like, watching the DBs at East Carolina, all of y'all could tackle.
Hmm.
I mean, y'all were probably the best unit in the country that could do that outside of maybe like a Georgia, right? Like
Hmm.
Georgia's known to be, but credit to y'all. I mean, like watching the game last year against Michigan, which I don't know, you didn't get a chance to play in that game from what I saw,
No.
but you were probably on the sidelines watching your team do work, especially in
Hmm.
the first couple quarters. I mean, you guys were doing your thing. There was one tackle that was made by Chavon, where he comes down on Blake Corum, one hand tackle him,
One
and I'm
hand,
like,
yeah.
I was
Hmm.
like, that was one of my favorite highlights from him. And I'm like, man, East Carolina, they're really some thumpers. And it was, you and Jamarly as well. Like,
Hmm.
you guys are some thumpers. So was that a big focus at East Carolina? Because I tried to tell people, I was a former coach. Like,
Hmm.
tackling is probably the best thing that you can do. And you saw the
Oh,
Eagles do it really,
100%.
really well
Yeah.
this year. So was that a big focus of you guys down there at East Carolina?
Yeah. So mentally, Coach Harrell, he instilled in us, calls us Tommy Tough guys, and make sure when we get the guy, you drive for five, and make sure you bring something to the party. So that was all as instilled in
Okay.
all of us. And physically, I believe we try to do about 2 to 3, probably 2 tackling drills a week when we're in pads, to make sure when we come on game day, we know how it feels to hit and make sure we're ready to bring it.
Yeah. So I want to do something real fun, man. And I know we mentioned his name a couple times, but I gotta throw this in there. Your former teammate. When you see this picture,
Yep.
how does this make you feel, man?
Makes you feel special. Him just battling through all the adversity that he's been through, and still to get picked up in the third round. Without the ACL injury, he goes first round, no doubt
Oh,
about
He,
it.
100%.
he was our number one
He
corner
was
in
our
this
number
draft.
one corner. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that just makes me so proud of him. Just and he's a good dude, man. Just making sure he didn't leave, he stayed home. He could have went anywhere else in the country. That is his breakout year, but he stayed home. He battled, he fought, and I'm just proud of him.
Yeah, your offensive coordinator was saying that I was reading an article on 247 Sports that, and then we'll get into like the NIL thing because I don't want to dip too much into it, but I kind of want to get your thoughts on it because there's a lot of like we don't get to talk to the players about it
Hmm.
as much, so I kind of want to get your perspective on it. Um, but from your OC or sorry your DC's perspective, he was saying about Chavon saying, he could have went to Alabama or Georgia. Like people were reaching out to him and things like that. Like, was that a big thing that you guys are worried about? Like him just getting up and getting the bag? I mean, it probably makes you feel really, really good that he stayed behind. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, what happened to him is what happened. But, did that make your group come together even more to see a guy like him just stay back and then, be with his brothers one more year?
Yeah, at first we were kind of worried because we knew he had a breakout year. We were trying to see what he was going to do. But when we had our little meeting, we talked to him. He told us, he's like, I'm going to give you guys my word. Like, I'm not going nowhere. They took me when I was driving delivery trucks at Amazon. And he said, I'm going to stay true to my colors and be a pirate.
Yeah. Well, I think his quote was when they were asking about NIL, he said, "Man, I ain't even worried about that. That's too stressful," or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I
Siobhan's
mean,
Yeah, he ain't wrong.
He's real simple, man. He just wants to play ball. He said the good money's gonna come later. He just saw it all paid off. He's got drafted in the third round, so he's gonna get that cheese. So like I said, I'm just so happy for him.
yeah, man. Well, it's good to hear. I did a major breakdown on him, and that's partially why I saw a lot of. I got to watch a lot of his film and see you on the film work as well. And it's,
Mm.
as a former coach, I know it's not just one player. It's all you guys together. And one of the most important interceptions that he had last year was due to the defense that you guys had played, locking down everybody. He was able to come and dart across the field and take that thing to the house. So,
Hmm.
you know, that must have felt good that when everybody's in position and one guy can make a play, it's just not just one guy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, big credit to you guys. Now let's get over to the NIL stuff. How did that shape your team in general? Like as you've seen, some guys are getting the bag here and there, like with these collectives and everything. Like, were you impacted by that, or were your teammates? And does that really change the dynamic of a locker room? Because I always wanted to ask somebody that was within those four walls, like when NIL talks start coming, does that change the dynamic of your team, or is it just it's just like somebody going to work their side job at Best Buy? Like how does that work out for you guys?
Well, it really depends on the culture of the program, and I felt as though at East Carolina we did a really good job of this guy's going to get this much, this guy's going to get that much, but it doesn't matter who's getting what. Just make sure we do our job at the end of the day. And you might see an increase if you do a really good job. But it's really not up to the coaching staff. It's really up to the collective and how they perceive you. So guys will make sure they're on the tip top. They're on the P's and Q's to try to benefit from that.
That's interesting, man. I know, along with the NIL comes the transfer portal too, and that's where a lot of guys make a big decision. As a guy that's gone through the transfer portal and now seeing how we're not too big of fans of the spring portal period, to be completely honest with you, because uh, I don't know how it changes the again, I've never been in those four walls, so kind of like asking you the question, when you see a guy that just comes out of nowhere join your team, you guys have been grinding all spring, and then eventually it could be a guy that takes somebody else's position that's been grinding with you. They just had a little bit more talent. How's the dynamic of that too? And did you have to experience that, or just from afar? How does that look? Because I look at Nico Iamaleava's situation, going from Tennessee to UCLA, kicking a guy that you guys played against, and Joey
Yeah.
Aguilar out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like, how's that dynamic in the locker room deal with the transfer portal itself too?
Sometimes it's not really always up to the players. Sometimes the spring portal, sometimes the coaches be like, you know what, we want to make sure we have our guys. So you might have to leave or you might have to do this and the third. But um, the spring portal can impact your team because you build a program through mat drills, through spring ball, and he said, you know what, I'm a leave, and sometimes that can hurt you. But it really just depends on the culture of the program, and
Yeah.
if you have a good foundation, and you bring guys in that have to join the program, we're not joining their motive, they have to join us, and I feel like Coach Harold did a great job of that.
And when these coaches talk to you about, are they telling some of these guys like you might have a better opportunity somewhere else? I would explore doing the transfer portal because I know it's different from school to school, and you hear through the grapevine that these conversations happen. Like when Nick Saban tells Jalen Hurts like go to Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? It's not the fact that you're not good here. It's just I think you can get more out of a Lincoln Riley. Like, are those conversations happening at the Group of Five level as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. Those are the tough, honest conversations. Uh, I try to look at the positive side of things. If a coach doesn't think you're going to um, play at his program, he might try to say, you know what, I feel as though you can have a better opportunity for your career at a different program.
Yeah.
So those conversations happen at the Group of Five level.
Awesome, man. Let's get back over to you, man. I know the Tropical Bowl came back around for you, and um, I'm always a big fan of players going out there and competing. Right?
Mm,
I feel like if I had the chance to be at your level, would I be competing? And not to bring Shador Sanders in, but it's hard to say that he didn't go where he was supposed to go because he didn't compete with his team. What would you tell somebody in your shoes that's now in your situation when you're looking for that opportunity with the NFL? Like, do you think it would have hurt you for not doing that, or are you the type of guy that's like sees every single opportunity? I mean, especially being a guy that transferred from Elon and going to the Division One, playing at he's well, both of them are Division One, but going
yeah.
from FCS to FBS, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell that next guy? Like, would you tell him to seize the opportunity, or just what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it really depends on everyone's situation. I came out of the season healthy, so I was able to compete in Tropical Bowl. But a guy like me, I'm gonna try to maximize every opportunity I can get. So the Tropical Bowl gave me the invite, and I was like, you know what? I'm healthy, nothing's hurting in my body, so why not give it a go and try to put myself in front of these NFL teams that I want to play for.
Yeah, I like that mentality. Especially you got to do what's right for you. Um, and then you have guys like Jack Kaiser playing linebacker at Notre Dame that come out and go to the Senior Bowl the week after and is competing again. And then
Yeah, both
you
him and
have
Riley Leonard.
yeah, you have guys like Curtis Rourke who played with a torn ACL all year and then wanted to compete at the combine, and then the medical doctors say he's not doing this, and he really wanted to. So always hearing the fact that like seize every opportunity. If you're healthy enough, it's not going to compromise you in any single way.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, from your perspective, does that mentality of some other players of like I'm not going to do this, does that rub you the wrong way even when they're healthy? Like you're looking at like you're trying to get an opportunity and they're not taking their opportunity to compete with their teammates. Like how do you feel about that situation?
Um, Everyone has their own reasons, so I try not to let it affect me if guys are healthy and they're not competing. So everyone has their own reasons. Everything happens for a reason. So if they don't want to compete, they don't have to compete, but they can't be mad at not getting an opportunity if they haven't maximized what they were given.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, man.
Yeah, I mean it's
I got something interesting that I pulled away from just not only looking at your statistics, but going back and revisiting the draft and seeing where some of these other safeties had ended up with the stats that you didn't put up, right? And not trying to say that you have to compare yourself to these guys, but it's just interesting to me on the evaluation process of what the NFL actually looks at. You have Jonas Sanker out of Virginia, goes round 3 to the Saints. He had 98 tackles, 4 passes defended, 2 sacks, and 1 interception, which is very comparable from what you did on the field, but even though you were more of a tackling machine and he had two more passes defended, that really is what separated you two. And then you training with Dante Trader. I don't even think he was healthy the full season. He goes, round 5 to the Dolphins as well. Like, are you the type of guy that's just, you saying everything happens for a reason, but when you look at a situation like that from like a stats perspective, it's like, man, I did everything I was supposed to do. And you watch the film and you're flying all the way around the field. Like, what's the mentality now that that you're comparable stats wise to those guys, but they got an opportunity? What's that mentality for you now?
First off, those guys are some great players, and they where they're supposed to be. And like I said, everything happens for a reason. So I know my stats were comparable to those guys, but they got the opportunity and I didn't. So I'm still grinding, and I'm still waiting for my shot.
Yeah. Awesome answer, man. Sora, I don't know if you got anything else. I mean, I just want to get in and start breaking this
No, I
stuff
mean,
down, man.
majority of it's kind of already been said. I guess really the only other thing was like, I see that I've seen that like a lot of stuff on like your Twitter or whatever, you'll be reposting of other players' success and just kind of more so. What is that? Even if they were like teammates or not teammates, like I forget who it was, but somebody at like Texas A&M. It was just kind of more so like, what does that say about your characters? And more just like, again, kind of like what I was saying at the beginning of the show. Like, we're all humans, we're all brothers at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's my character. I don't have really any hate in my blood. Like I said, I'm gonna keep saying everything happens for a reason. Those guys deserve their props. I'm gonna shout them out on my Instagram. I'm gonna shout them out on my Twitter because they deserve it. They worked hard. I don't see what they do behind closed doors. You know what I mean? They're probably working. They could be working harder than me. I doubt it, but like I'm saying, that's just the truth. But this is what it is. And I'm gonna keep being prayed up. A shout out to God. I'm gonna keep being prayed up and waiting on my opportunity.
Yeah,
absolutely,
man. I think it's coming, man.
Yeah.
I know a couple of guys around the league, and I definitely been in talks, and I sent them over a couple of clips from what I seen on film. Like this is different, man. Like he could really help a team out. So hopefully, something comes from that, man. We wish you the best with everything that you do. But before we get into it, I always like to lead off into something positive, and this was a great lead in from what Sora said. Who's that next teammate at East Carolina that is going to carry the torch for you guys moving forward?
Depending on what position, just overall team.
Yeah, just overall. Like it could be a couple people, but like who's that person that sticks out in your mind? That's like, yeah, he's one of them ones. He just had, people just don't know it yet.
Okay, so first I'm gonna shout out the quarterback. The team runs through the quarterback. As far as he goes, as far as he takes us, that's how far the team is gonna go. So shout out to Caden Hauser. He's gonna lead the team to an AAC championship. I'm speaking to existence.
There you go.
Will it?
Jamari Riddle, he's really good. He came in as a freshman and made some plays. I was like, man, like you one of the ones, bro. Like you gotta keep your head on straight. You can go far. And I say JD Lampley, he plays I think plays he plays DN. I was trying to figure out the technique, but I was gonna say overall DN.
Yeah.
DN, and he's like that. I'm gonna say him, Sam Danka. Those are guys, and I want to see Marlon Gunn have a great season as well. He's gonna be the head of the running back stable this year, I'm assuming. So
okay,
see what he does too.
Well, a little fun question here, and then we'll break down this film.
And also Anthony Smith. He's a dog too.
Anthony Smith. Okay.
Smith, all right.
Yeah.
We're gonna write these names down. We know about Jamarly. We're gonna write these other names down.
Yeah.
So I know you probably dabbled in Madden a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we talked about you're like a do it all type guy, right? But if you had one attribute to put at a 99 rating for yourself on Madden, what would it be?
That I would want, or that I think I have myself right now.
What that you think you would do for yourself right now?
I'll put my pursuit up. Just pursuit is everything.
Yeah.
Bingo. I was gonna say the same thing.
That is correct.
That is correct, man. Yeah, we could definitely see it, and we want to go ahead and just break down this first play, man. Just
Okay.
let us know what you know. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Let
So
us.
Sora did his homework with that WD-40 question. That was funny. Did his homework.
Dude, I saw it. That's just what I do, and I was like, hold on now, I got to know about this.
Yeah, he's asked some really cool questions over the year. My favorite one was Dwayne Carter that used to play defensive tackle for Duke.
Hmm.
Um, there was a little Wayne question that got popped up for him that what was it actually, Sora?
So it was what it was he almost committed to Pittsburgh because Antonio Brown liked his hairstyle and it reminded him of Lil Wayne. And I was gonna say, as like a 17-year-old or however old, you know what? And then eventually he chose Duke, and I was like, all right, so what led to this?
Yeah, yeah.
That's fun.
So it's like questions like that, and he gave us like the biggest smile, man. That was one of the best interview moments we ever had. But so let's get into this, man. First play of the game for the defense, and go ahead and start this up here for you. So we got you obviously lined up, playing a little bit of strong safety, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Did y'all have a special code name for this position? Because you were kind of you played in the box. I've seen you play a little bit of free safety, which we'll get into. Like what was the position called from your guys' defensive side?
This right here is called the buck. The buck
Buck.
safety.
Okay.
Yep.
So obviously you got a little line shift that happened there, and then the handoff. As soon as you saw
Yep.
the line shift to that side, what's going on in your head? Because obviously that's something that they're seeing, right? You're
Yeah.
sliding that 0 over to the 3. What's going on there?
I believe we went from our 3 down front to our 4 down.
Okay.
We shifted. We started out in the ox front. We went to a even front, and then right here, I believe we're in quarters, and I just saw run action heavy. App State's a big pistol run downhill, try to out muscle you type of team,
Yep.
and
Do a
kind
lot
of
of play action. Get Joe Aguilar to throw
Mhm.
that thing down the field. I know y'all
Yep.
saw that a lot. Yep.
Yeah. So then I saw number 2 come off with alligator arms, which is kind of like a block. So I was like, let me just go ahead and go trigger.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite plays from you. Even though it was the first play of the game, the way you shed it off 2 here, told him to get out your way and get that guy out. It doesn't matter how you
I mean,
get him out.
that's a tone setter right there,
It,
Yeah.
it is. It's
especially on the first play.
and this was a hell of a game for you guys. I mean, it was back and forth for a while. I mean, you made a couple big plays in this game. Siobhan obviously had that pick six that happened. I believe it
Yep.
was like at the end of the third quarter that kind of turned it around for you guys. But that was one of my favorite plays from you guys, or from you specifically. It's
Yeah.
just setting the tone right away. The
Yeah.
next one I got up
That
here.
game was packed. That game was packed out. It was, the adrenaline was high. In-state rival. We hadn't beat them. We still haven't beat them. That's still kind of burns me a little bit, but we
Yeah.
didn't beat them. We haven't beat them in a long time. So
A-
I was trying to set the tone.
And for their season to go the way that it did, I mean, we had them as one of our favorites to be in contention for the Sun Belt too. And their season didn't go as they thought it's playing. So this is the one where you saw the guy right there coming through the seam,
Yeah.
and you almost picked it off. But as much as you came down, as soon as you got your hips turned here, it was action.
It was the right here. I had Butterfingers on this play. I should have called the interception, but right here we were playing a cover 3 cloud. You see Siobhan right here sinking to the flat,
Yep.
and I'm rolling over to the post. We're kicking, rolling over to the post, and I saw the vertical. I see the space between the mic and the ball and the receiver, and I was like, I gotta get over top of that, and he kind of overthrew it, and I need to make that play, but I was there though, even if he caught the ball.
Yeah. As soon as I seen you running towards the sideline, I was like, "This one of those ones where it's just everything's going through your head right now. Like you just visualizing get it over to the numbers and running it upfield. like
Yeah,
Oh, the
man.
like
second the second he remembered the play, he was shaking his head.
yeah.
Oh man,
But
I
it's
know exactly
funny
what play
because
that was.
almost the same exact play that was flipped is the one that Siobhan picked off, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so everything came to fruition in that moment. And
Yeah.
that was a cool play. And then the next one was another. I believe this is the other thumping play that you made. Uh, let's see. I believe this is the one right here. Yep. So little screen pass right here. But again, we talk about your pursuit, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you seeing trips lined up to to the up on the short side of the field there, and you Siobhan are standing in place, and you get. I mean, what's this formation called right here from your guys' standpoint? I mean, we used to call this triangle or truce in our defensive scheme. What did you guys call this alignment when you got trips?
Just regular old trips. None
Okay.
special. None crazy. We try to keep it simple.
Yeah, but just coming down and just laying the thunder, and the thing that I like about you guys is like it's like a hound dog mentality.
Oh
Once one
yeah.
guy gets there, I'm always a big fan of like
If
when
you're in
I used
frame
to
of
watch
play and
film.
everything.
Yeah, I like to see you in frame of the play. Like this is the frame of the play right here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see my guys on the opposite side of the field. And so, with a play like this, like trips can screw you up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they got a guy that pulls down in motion right here, then
Yeah.
you're setting up things for everybody hates mesh on the defensive side because it's one of the hardest plays to defend because you don't know who's going underneath, who's going over top. But this could have
Yeah.
been a mesh concept, and it, you know, you got to make a play, but being in a trips formation, it's still confusing. So from the defensive side, how are you guys locking this up? Like, how do you know which man is yours? Is it a specific, is it specific something that you've seen on film that they run a lot? Like, how do you know which guy to pursue over the other two guys? Like, how are you guys communicating cerebral? Here.
So it really depends on the call, and I believe this call here was our one of our cover fours, and we made a box call. So the will come out and press the point man to try to like mess up the trips that so it doesn't confuses us. So it kind of makes the picture a little bit better for us. And if they both all release vertical, I'll be in between 2 and 3, and our backside free safety would pick up number 3, and Siobhan would pick up number 1. I'd have number 2. They all went vertical.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, man.
Yep.
I would hate to be a defensive coordinator. I'm just tell you straight up. Like I was an offensive guy. I'd rather have the crazy play calls, but like this right here would be a nightmare for me seeing the guy line up in trips. We used to
Mm-hmm.
love doing it because you could do all kinds of crazy stuff out of it. I mean, it could be an end around, and you kicking that tight end out on that side, and the running back comes up as an eligible blocker and takes out your weak side backer there. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's all kinds of stuff that you can do. So just interesting. I've always wanted to ask somebody, obviously your caliber playing Division 1, like how do you guys defend trips? Like, but this was just an excellent play off a screen pass that really could have, screwed the momentum up for you guys in a critical situation. So, but those are the three plays I had, man. Didn't want to, get too far in the weeds because I know we could sit here all day and talk talk
And
ball
talk
and break
about the film, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and and, and and break down all that. But we definitely appreciate you, giving us a little bit of your time today, man. I don't know if the chat has any questions, for you, but I do have one thing to kind of follow up on now that we watched the film a little bit. You kind of gave us a little bit of your background, and if I was a GM in the NFL and I had to ask you, what is the one thing that we can almost guarantee that you're going to bring to our squad as far as a skill set? What would that be?
I would say my toughness. I would say my physicality. So I would say, but they kind of go hand in hand now. I would say toughness, just because mental toughness and physical toughness. I've been through a lot of adversity due with injuries, but I've always found a way to bounce back. I've made a staple in 2 programs. I was all conference at 2 programs.
That's for damn sure.
So it doesn't matter on the coaching staff. I try to make sure I try to find a way, and I will find a way. So if a GM asks me that question, I'll tell my mental toughness. My physical toughness, you can see on film. The film speaks for itself. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, this has been awesome, man.
Yeah.
We wish you nothing but the best, man. I mean, somebody's obviously out there gonna. I feel like your phone's gonna be ringing here in the next couple days to
Here's
get you
hoping,
a
man.
shot. You
Especially
know,
after the couple teams that have already called you up, yeah, or that you've been in
yeah,
contact with.
Yeah.
yeah.
I will say I did see that your favorite team was the Eagles. So if that happens, just remember Sora because he's
Oh,
also
that's right.
a
You're
fan.
from New Jersey, so that was
Yeah.
were you an Eagles fan growing up, or
Hmm.
was it just one of those things you kind of inherited after so long?
I was an Eagles fan growing up.
Who's your favorite player?
Growing up or now?
Both.
Both, yeah.
Okay. Growing up, I would say it was Brian Dawkins or
Okay.
not Brian Dawkins or Michael Vick.
Michael Vick. Okay.
That's an
Yeah.
interesting one.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
right now,
Was it Eagles Michael Vick, or did you always like him from the Falcons to to all the other teams he played for as well?
see, I liked him on the Falcons, but then when he came to Philadelphia, it just kind of made me like him even more. I always remember that play with him and D-Jack against the word Redskins, now the
Yep,
Commanders, but
I know
that
exactly
Yeah.
which player you're talking
that
about.
open and play action pass that went like 70 yards in the air, he caught it in stride, and I was just like, man, he really has a cannon. And then
Yeah. I would probably say that Michael Vick was probably the best thrower of the football that the Eagles have had in the last 15 years for sure. I like Jalen, but Michael Vick seemed to be a little different when he came to you guys. He became more of a thrower of the football and had some of the prettiest
Yeah,
balls,
oh yeah,
that he was throwing up to, especially D-Jack and the rest of those guys. So
mm.
yeah. Who's your
I
favorite
was
player now?
favorite player now. I'll probably say is Reed Blankenship. I would say
I
Reed.
was not expecting that.
yeah. Everybody loves Blankenship, man.
Yeah.
He had that
Why Reed?
he had that one bad year, but then yeah,
Yeah, why Reed in particular?
Just because that underdog story. He came from Middle Tennessee. He was an undrafted kind of guy, and he worked his way up. And he started in both Super Bowls, I believe. So he earned his stripes, and now he's playing great football, and probably one of the probably say like a top 20 safety in the league. Dude, just
Yeah.
look up the numbers.
Yeah. Well, you guys got a weapon coming there, man. To help shore all that up too. The Eagles are an interesting team, and by all regards, we talk about the tackling mentality that you have. It seems like they finally learned how to tackle as
yeah,
well.
with Vic Fangio, absolutely.
Yeah,
Especially with
Mhm.
like how versatile you are. That's a Vic Fangio type of player right there.
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Uh,
here's hoping. Obviously, I mean, it'd be amazing for you to go to your favorite team. It'd be amazing for you to go to any team. But there's just that little special like, oh, I'm on my favorite team. Like this is the
oh,
team that I grew up watching.
if
Oh
you end
yeah.
up getting picked up by the Eagles, I'm there, open practice, bro.
Oh, correct. Again, just
Nah, I'd
remember
appreciate
us.
that.
Just
I
nah,
live like
I
30
remember us a little
minutes
bit.
from the stadium too. Like I'm really close to Philadelphia.
yeah,
I'll fly in.
I used to live in Middletown, Delaware, so I wasn't that far. I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm a Jaguars fan. I know we suck. So, but I always used to go to the Eagles open practice every single year since I moved there. For I think this would be if I go this year, it'd be 5 years straight.
Mhm.
I like the event that they throw out there. I got no problem with the Eagles. It's more so some of the fans, that's it. But I think the Eagles get a bad rep. But yeah, if you definitely do if you get a shot for them, any of the New York teams, any of
Oh, I'll fly out
the
there right now.
Baltimore, Washington. I'm trying to think of all the teams close to me. Pittsburgh, like any of I'm coming out to see you, my man. I'm gonna buy your jersey and everything. Just straight up.
Nah,
We
I
go.
appreciate that for real.
You got a support system here for sure, man.
Hmm.
But uh, last thing before we get out of here and let you go. You talked about your favorite players in the NFL from past to present. Is there one guy in this draft that you would say, yeah, he's one of them ones, like he's gonna do really, really good at the safety position? Like, who would you give your safety blessing to in this draft?
My safety blessing. I would definitely say Malachi Starks. He's
Yeah.
definitely him, and Dante's really good too. Even though he battled through some injuries,
Hmm.
he's definitely really good too. But the number one guy off the board is Malachi Starks. Played at Georgia, played very well. Can do everything you ask him to do. So I'll say Malachi Starks.
Okay. Yeah, our top three was Malachi, Nicky Manwari, and my number one in this class, which they didn't agree with, but Malachi Moore, the other Malachi that was out there at
From
Alabama.
Alabama. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I really like all the stuff that, because I think about him like Brian Branch, right? I like the
Hmm.
Brian Branch type. You kind of like that too at East Carolina, just willing to do anything. I can go back. I can be in the box. I can sit here in the slot. Whatever you need me to do. I like that. I guess they call it the star
Yeah, the
safety
quote unquote
position in
star.
in a lot of other systems,
Hmm.
but I like the guys like that at the safety spot. But yeah, hey, Baltimore got one of them ones. So,
Oh yeah.
I mean, when that happened, I was like, if Malachi Starks or Nicky Manwari go to Baltimore,
It's over.
it's Legion of Boom 2.0, because they got dogs all over the place out there, man. So, Omar, appreciate it, man. Thank you
Yeah.
for gracing us with your
Thanks for being
time,
here, man.
man. Yeah,
Appreciate you guys
we wish you
for
nothing
sure.
but luck in the future, and we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Chat. Appreciate everybody that came through. I see Kev came through and show you some love. Some of these other people, I don't know if
Kev.
the guys of from your side, but we appreciate it, guys. We're gonna go ahead and end this one. This has been Dante, Omar, and Sor. We'll talk to you guys later, man.
Yes, sir.